first time all season in the game here on Friday. You look at the UTEP starting lineup. Jakeem Streeter coming off a terrific game in the semifinal loss. A season-high 15 points here on Friday against Kansas State. For Auburn, they are the home team in this matchup, and Frankie Sullivan having a phenomenal tournament.
Yes, he is. Really, he's found his range from three-point range and set up his teammates really nicely once he's gotten hot, drawing defenses, drawing double teams, playmaking as well as scoring the rock. They got better each game as the tournament progressed.
It'll be John Bohannon to jump for UTEP against Rob Chubb of Auburn, and UTEP controls the opening tip.
UTEP likes to be deliberate in the half-court offense. Auburn will go mainly man-to-man. You may see them mix up a little bit, but on UTEP's side, Roxy, boy, they've got some tricks up their sleeve on the defensive end. A number of different looks they try to give their opponents.
John Bohannon goes to work on the block, and a whistle, wave it off, and a traveling violation committed by UTEP to start the game. There's Tim Floyd, the head coach of the Miners, in his second year at UTEP. Overall, 18 seasons, has been to 8 NCAA tournaments. Also 5 years in the NBA for Tim Floyd, 4 of those with the Chicago Bulls.
Well, one of the best tacticians in the NCAA and Tim Floyd.
Keeping it alive for Auburn, Chubb, but he gets it right to UTEP. The only senior, Gabriel McCulley, brought it up the floor, fires a three from the corner, and it's Rob Chubb to clear it for Auburn.
A slow start by both teams. Coming out of the block, maybe getting a little bit too much sun yesterday.
A bank that goes in for Varez Ward. So on Christmas Day, the bank is open, huh?
Little Christmas gift for Varez. I'm sure he'll tell his teammates he meant to do that.
But you don't buy it, do you?
No, I got to call that one.
Here's Julian Washburn along two. And the rebound cleared by Josh Langford for Auburn.
Sure, Coach Floyd not pleased with the quick release on those shots.
And the pull-up is knocked in by Josh Langford. 4-0, the Tigers lead it.
Oh, full court pressure by the Tigers here after the make.
And a blocking call against Rob Chubb will send UTEP to the free throw line. And Gabriel McCulley there with the bucket and one for the Miners.
Gabriel McCulley has good size at 6'7" and able to take the contact and concentrate through the finish. Good job of getting the ball on the glass.
The only senior for UTEP, McCulley from Memphis, 6'7". 65% from the line this year, gets the three-point play and pulls the Miners to within one. Already a sub for Tony Barbie. Checking in is Chris Denson, a 6'2" sophomore from Columbus, Georgia, replacing Langford.
I'm sure Tony Barbie was not happy with something Langford did, and it's typically when you get the quick hook that fast, Roxy, has something to do with the defensive end.
Perez Ward drives into the lane and drops it in. 6'3", Auburn.
Perez Ward getting stronger with each game, it seems like. Coaching staff of Auburn thinks he's only at 80% recovered from that thigh injury he suffered at Texas, but still a heady ball player and does not mind mixing it up in the paint area.
Auburn foul the post, the first against Chris Denson, second against Auburn.
Keep an eye on Perez here.
There he is.
They'd like to double down out of bounds play to try to free him up for a quick jumper. Good job defensively by the Tigers.
Jakeem Streeter nails a three to tie the game at 6.
Well, this is a good-looking young team that has played their best basketball as of late in the last couple games. Had a pretty good rally. Came up just a little bit short against Kansas State in the semifinal round.
Pass inside from Perez Ward, looking for Rob Chubb. Stolen Gabriel McCulley and UTEP.
It's interesting to watch this young UTEP team off the court. Roxy, we saw them yesterday and the day off, and the whole group hanging together, doing activities together, not mandated by their coaching staff. So this is a very good chemistry on this young ball club.
Shot clock at 5. Julian Washburn with the turnaround on the baseline. Gabriel McCulley underneath, stepped on the end line. It will go to Auburn. Another sub for Tony Barbee coming in. Willie Kawasi checks in, a 6'10 freshman from the Ivory Coast. Langford comes back as well as Kenny Gabriel leaves, and we saw him yesterday, or Friday rather, Stephen. Rolled that ankle, was in and out throughout the first half, came back, but clearly lost his effectiveness.
Yeah, and he wasn't quite as athletic as we were accustomed to seeing him be in terms of the facilitator, as well as an offensive rebounder and a guy that can score in the post area.
And there is Willie Kawasi inside to give Auburn back the lead.
There's a bonus points for Auburn right there. They don't depend too much on Willie to provide offense. He's more of a defensive rebounding presence that bodes well for the Tigers early. Showing pretty good patience here in the half-court set.
Julian Washburn. Shot clock at 7 for the Miners. Michael Perez launches a 3 and gets it. And UTEP has their first lead.
Boy, Michael Perez is having a coming out party here in Honolulu. Has been on fire. Scored a career high 25 against Clemson in the first round. It's been very effective from three-point lane.
It's really come on the last 7 games, averaging about 17 a tilt for the Miners. Here's Perez Ward trying the 3. Offensive rebound and a putback inside. Josh Langford, and Auburn goes back in front.
Josh Langford is so athletic and active. His goal should be to get 3 or 4 of those a game.
Baseline jumper rattles off for Julian Washburn. John Bohannon working the inside and fouled on a putback. And he'll go to the free throw line. Coming up on the other side of the timeout, a beach breakdown.
Hawaii. Beautiful day here. Merry Christmas to everyone.
John Bohannon at the line for the Miners as he hits the first foul shot, and we are tied at 10. Foul was on Josh Langford of Auburn, his first. Bohannon 74% from the line this season. And he puts the UTEP Miners back in front.
These two teams are going to be very interesting to monitor the rest of the season. Both teams trying to forge a somewhat new identity from the previous season. And tournaments like these, Roxy, when you can get 3 quality games in, and whoever can come away 2-1 can use this as a springboard heading into conference play.
The storyline of this game is Tony Barbee against his former team in UTEP. He spent 4 years as the head coach of the Miners. Tim Floyd succeeded Barbee at UTEP. And there's been a lot of turnover with this Texas El Paso team, Stephen. They have 9 newcomers this year, 7 freshmen, but the fans of UTEP certainly were passionate about what Tony Barbee did in El Paso as Frankie Sullivan rattles off a 3. Only player really that can identify with Barbee is the senior Gabriel McCulley. For the most part, that's it that played for him.
Yes, and it's interesting that Tim Floyd has been able to really continue the success that Barbee set up in spite of having such high turnover in his roster.
Julian Washburn puts UTEP up 3.
And here's the zone defense / box and 1 of UTEP. So right now trying to run Frankie Sullivan along the baseline. Watch Langford and Rob Chubb on the box. There's the entry pass.
And 1 for Josh Langford. There's shots of Tony Barbee when he was coaching the Miners. 4 years was the 2010 Conference USA Coach of the Year, taking UTEP to the NCAA tournament, and really did an outstanding job.
He did do an outstanding job, and he had a very talented group of guys. Randy Culpepper, Julian Stone. They had some all-conference type guys at UTEP, and Tony Barbee, tremendous success in his 4 seasons. Recruiting-wise, really built up the Miners, and had them knocking on the door against the Memphises of Conference USA, and he was able to use that success to springboard to his current position. And it seems like the trajectory of the Auburn Tigers looks like it's going to be similar to what he experienced at UTEP.
Certainly it hurt losing a coach of the stature of Barr and what he accomplished at UTEP, but they certainly landed a great coach in their own right who's got ties to El Paso, Texas in Tim Floyd.
You're exactly right. And you're talking about a guy in Tim Floyd that can flat out coach. You talk to coaches around the country, and this guy can get any player in position to be successful. Michael Perez is an example of that. Tim Floyd will ride the hot hand. He'll throw different types of defenses at you. We've seen a boxing one already tonight. We've seen a triangle and two earlier in the tournament. This is a guy that has a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
Shot clock at 5. Jaquez Streeter rattles in a 3. His second 3, and UTEP has a 3-point lead.
What a stabilizing force for this young ball club. Jaquez Streeter, a transfer from Cal State Fullerton, has come in and really accepted the role of being a leader and a timely scorer. There's our offense right there. Gabriel right at the free throw line.
In the box and one. Will that shot be there for Auburn?
Almost every time.
Julian Washburn is swatted by Kenny Gabriel. Frankie Sullivan looking to get on track. Here is Clemson transferred Noel Johnson. Played for the first time this season for the Tigers in the game here on Friday in their loss to Long Beach State. Perez Ward into the lane, and he is fouled. Wednesday night, ESPN2 has a college basketball doubleheader featuring 4 of the best teams in the country. First at 7 Eastern, number 16 Georgetown takes on 4th-ranked Louisville. Then at 9 Eastern, 17th-ranked Mississippi State visits undefeated number 7 Baylor. That's a great night of hoops coming up on Wednesday.
Unbelievable. And when you look at Georgetown and Louisville, they have to be 2 of the surprises in early college basketball. Louisville, despite suspensions and injuries, continue to be impressive. And Baylor, maybe the tallest team in the country, has gone and into BYU and won. Went to Northwestern and dismantled the Wildcats. They look very, very good. Were able to withstand a tough assault against West Virginia in the last game to win in overtime. So Scott Drew has the Baylor Bears looking ready for conference play.
Loose ball picked up Chris Denson and the Tigers.
When we talk about Baylor and Mississippi State, one player that's doing very well for Mississippi State is Arnett Moultrie, who was a transfer from UTEP.
And Perez Ward ties the game with a long 2, and he's off to a quick start with 7. Drop off, beautiful pass by Jaquez Streeter.
Great playmaking by Streeter. The perfect situation when a team is trying to pressure you is to get shots at the rim. Jaquez Streeter, one-man wrecking crew on that play. Now UTEP in a triangle and 2. Kenny Gabriel's going to get clean looks all afternoon if this continues.
There is Gabriel hitting just his 8th three-pointer of the year. Auburn 19, UTEP 18.
Little token pressure that time by Auburn. Not necessarily designed to come up with steals, but to take some time out of the shot clock and keep UTEP out of rhythm offensively.
Here's a steal. The Tigers on the move. Noel Johnson down the lane, swatted by Cedric Lang. And here comes UTEP back the other way.
As Noel gets some of that rust off his game, you'll see him finish those plays.
Julian Washburn with the lay-in. He is the son of former NC State star and 3rd overall pick in the 1986 draft, Chris Washburn by Golden State. And there's an air ball that goes out of bounds.
Well, this is how it's done when you're trying to break pressure and you a one-man rush. Hawaii 2-1. A really electrifying victory over Xavier Musketeers the other night.
Coming up later tonight, the championship game here from the Sheriff Center. Kansas State, Long Beach State. as the Wildcats have performed very well so far early in this season. Are you surprised that Long Beach State is in the title game?
Well, Long Beach State, toughest non-conference schedule in the nation. And so they won't be surprised when they play Kansas State. And it's a veteran ball club, 4 senior starters. Casper Ware, one of the better guards in the nation. Mike Caffey, an emerging star, the freshman guard. So Long Beach State, despite their record, very talented.
Shot clock at 10 for the Miners. Cedric Lang spins it around, and it goes for the freshman from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Now they say ignorance is bliss, Roxy, and I think a little bit of the success that UTEP enjoys is because these guys don't know any better. They're just coming out playing hard and playing together. It's fun to see.
Noel Johnson, offensive rebound. Alley-oop pass rammed in by Kenny Gabriel.
Well, I think Kenny Gabriel's ankle is loose right now. Able to climb the ladder there on a nice tip dunk.
Well, it can't take very long for it to get loose in Hawaii.
This is true. This is true. Plus, he's under 22, so that helps as well.
Michael Perez rims out a 3. And Auburn comes away with it. Frankie Sullivan still looking for his first points of this game.
You cannot feel bad about the effort that John Bohannon gives. He just got to get in the weight room.
Out of bounds it goes to UTEP. Tuesday night, ESPN2 has a college basketball doubleheader featuring conference play. 7 Eastern, number 13 Pittsburgh meets Notre Dame. Then at 9, number 14 Wisconsin takes on Nebraska. The home court of college hoops on ESPN2, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app Tuesday. One-man press break and the lay-in by C.J. Cooper. And forces Tony Barbee to take a 30-second timeout. So
no.
No?
No.
Come on, Steven.
I'll let you handle that. Merry Christmas.
Melikilikimaka to you too.
All right. All right.
Auburn with the basketball after Tony Barbee took a 30-second timeout.
UTEP going to their box and 1, playing man-to-man. C.J. Cooper trying to face guard Frankie Sullivan.
Beautiful pass by Kenny Gabriel for the bucket.
Once again, Kenny Gabriel, I've said this in the previous 2 games. He does so many things for this Auburn Tigers basketball club. Handles the basketball, goes against pressure, scores, rebounds. Invaluable member for the Tigers ball club.
UTEP goes over the back, looking for the offensive rebound.
Well, look at this, Pat. Left hand, offhand, sees Josh Langford behind the defense. Excellent job by facilitating by Kenny Gabriel.
Rob Chubb back in the game for the Tigers as Auburn looks to take the lead again.
Now UTEP going back to man-to-man, so doing a very good job of keeping UTEP. Slight hesitation.
Rob Chubb misses the layup. And it's cleared by Cedric Lang of the Miners.
Tim Floyd's young ball club. They try to piece 4-minute segments together.
And Frankie Sullivan fouls Gabriel McCulley inside as UTEP leading Auburn by 1. Little snorkeling.
Right. That's right.
Some Kansas State fans here early getting set. They're getting their game face on for the title game.
I'm sure they are, and I'm sure they're happy about being in Honolulu, because I'm not sure that the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, is as nice as it is right now where we are.
There's not many places as nice as where we are right now.
That is a safe comment.
One more free throw for Gabriel McCulley. And he misses both. And the rebound tapped out of bounds. It will go to Auburn with UTEP leading this by 1. He's a big fan of Manhattan, Kansas, don't you think? He's got his Kansas State Wildcat hat on, the purple T-shirt.
And rocking the chopsticks. I mean, you know, multi-talented. Just like Frank Martin's Wildcats. Can do it all.
And a traveling violation on the perimeter against Josh Langford gives the ball to UTEP.
UTEP doing an outstanding job defensively thus far. 2 leading scorers for Auburn. Frankie Sullivan is 0 of 2 from the field. Rob Chubb 0 of 2 from the field.
With the box and one that Tim Floyd is throwing at Auburn, what can Tony Barbee do to get Frankie Sullivan some better looks?
You can run man-to-man offense because in a box and one, they're face guarding Sullivan. So if you run your man-to-man offense, try to get him screens to free him up, but also look for transition buckets. Those are the easiest to get without the defense being set up. Those two approaches can get these guys going offensively.
C.J. Cooper for a 3. Gets it from the left side. He has 5. He had a career best 11 against Clemson in the first round here in Hawaii.
Now you see right there the numbers. UTEP doing an excellent job of making someone other than Rob Chubb and Frankie Sullivan beat them.
Largest lead for the Miners. And a throwaway. UTEP with the ball. Here comes C.J. Cooper. That one rims off, and the rebound cleared Noel Johnson for Auburn. Big man Rob Chubb tries to run the floor but can't corral the pass, and the Tigers give it away for the 5th time.
Well, and that's on Noel Johnson, because you can't expect Rob Chubb running full speed to catch, plant, put it on the deck, and make a play at the hole. That's just too difficult to ask Rob Chubb to finish in that situation. So now Auburn in a 2-3 zone as well. So trying to change looks a little bit, slow this UTEP attack down. UTEP right where they want to be here, Roxy.
Inside. Julian Washburn with the bucket. 6-point lead for the Miners. Approaching 5:45 left in the first half.
We talked about it. Tim Floyd's got a playbook the size of a New York phone book. And in any situation, he can pull out one of those plays. Julian Washburn goes behind the zone for the sweet alley-oop.
Cedric Lane called for the block on the perimeter. The big man for UTEP with his 2nd personal foul. 4th against the Miners.
Watch along the baseline here. The ball comes back to the top of the key. Keys Streeter sees Washburn sneak behind the defense. And you see Gabriel McCulley set the screen. Excellent offensive execution by the Miners.
Is that an area susceptible to a 2-3 zone?
Definitely, if you can get a solid screen as Gabriel McCulley did against Willie Kouassi.
Backdoor cut for Noel Johnson. Tries the athletic lay-in, the reverse, and the rebound cleared John Bohannon and the Miners.
Nice decision that time by McCulley. It looked as though they may have an advantage, but he wasn't quite sure. You take the ball out, then he draws a foul. Excellent job by the lone senior in the lineup, Gabriel McCulley.
First on Kenny Gabriel of Auburn. It's the Tigers' 5th team foul. Right now, I got to assume, Stephen, that Tim Floyd has to be extremely pleased with the way this first half has played out.
Yes, definitely pleased, because defensively they've been so stout. Frankie Sullivan was having his way here the first 2 games of this tournament. Rob Chubb was very effective with the game-winning dunk against Hawaii early in the tournament. So you take a team's best 2 scorers out of the situation in the first half, you're going to be in great shape.
Gabriel McCulley is fouled and will go to the free throw line. 2nd personal against Frankie Sullivan. 6 Auburn team fouls. The next one will put the Miners in the bonus. But this time McCulley will shoot 2 free throws. 1 of 3 at the line today.
Gabriel has a funny rotation on the ball sometimes. His left hand, which is the guide hand, gets a little bit too involved on the release and gets a very unusual spin on the basketball. He's been doing it so long that I'm sure right now he's probably not going to try to get too much away from it.
Largest lead for UTEP. Inside 5 minutes remaining first half.
Remember, we talked about Tim Floyd wanting to win 4-minute segments. and string together wins in each 4-minute segment. And as we're closing in on the last 4 minutes of the first half, they couldn't be positioned much better.
Josh Langford missing a 3. Rebound UTEP and Michael Perez.
And all this being done right now with Michael Perez is only 3 points. He's only 1 of 3 from the field. So this is a total team effort on the offensive end in the first half.
Gabriel McCulley called for too many steps. And that's a giveaway by the UTEP Miners.
You know, it's interesting. This game for the 3rd place here in this tournament, not a lot of energy in the building. So what needs to happen on both sides, the seniors, the upperclassmen, they've got to rally their guys, get their benches excited, and give their team some energy. Auburn looks extremely flat right now. Frankie Sullivan and Rob Chubb have to step up and get involved here offensively.
Tim Floyd wanted to travel against Perez Ward. And Josh Langford inside, and the body from Gabriel McCulley, and the foul. Wednesday night, ESPN2 has a college basketball doubleheader featuring 4 of the best teams in the nation. First at 7 Eastern, number 16 Georgetown takes on 4th-ranked Louisville. Then at 9 Eastern, Mississippi State, the 17th ranked club in the country, visits number 7 undefeated Baylor. 3rd foul on Gabriel McCulley of UTEP as Josh Langford hits the first free throw, and McCulley has to check out for Tim Floyd. 4:11 left in the half, and 3 fouls on Floyd's lone senior.
This is the 2nd time in 3 games in this tournament that Gabe McCulley has picked up 3 fouls in the first half, and Tim Floyd goes against traditional thinking. Typically, when you're in the first half and you pick up 2 fouls, you're on the bench for the rest of the half. But he rolls the dice a little bit with McCulley being his senior and hoping that he can stay in the game without foul trouble, but it's come back and bitten him twice now.
Josh Langford hits both, and now with a season-high 11 points to lead Auburn. C.J. Cooper missing a corner 3. Rebound Auburn.
A tough move by Langford that time, trying to sidestep the defense. And Auburn being frustrated right now offensively, so they're pressing a little bit.
Langford a little out of control there, and a fast break opportunity for the Tigers.
And try to go with his offhand, a left-hander trying to make a move with his right hand under duress.
And a foul called against Auburn as the UTEP Miners up 6 on
court. And look at that shot of Diamond Head. Had a chance to go to the top of that yesterday, and wanted to experience that is spectacular views from the top.
John Bohannon at the line. Front end of a 1-and-1 is good. Frankie Sullivan, by the way, for Auburn has 3 fouls now, so he'll be saddled to the bench for the rest of the first half, as Gabriel McCulley is for UTEP.
And I believe that it hurts Auburn much more to have Frankie Sullivan in foul trouble than it does Gabriel McCulley for UTEP. UTEP's shown great balance here in the first half in terms of sharing the wealth on the offensive end, and Auburn's still trying to find the right combination without their leading scorer being involved.
John Bohannon hits both, and UTEP has matched their largest lead. By the way, the nickname of Punahou won that high school tournament, the Buff and Blue. How many Buff and Blues are around the country?
Well, there's a very important Buff and Blue who decided to take Air Force One here on his vacation the other night.
Surprised we haven't seen him around here. He's a big hoops guy.
Yeah, he is a big hoops guy, but I have a feeling he probably wanted to get away a little bit. He's got some more important things to tend to.
Over the back call against Willie Kawasi of Auburn. And for the Tigers, it is their 8th team foul, which will take UTEP to the free throw line at the other end, and Cedric Lang for a 1-and-1.
And what has gone wrong continues to go wrong. What could go wrong, rather, continues to happen to Auburn here in the first half. Foul trouble mounting up, stagnant offensively, UTEP scoring from the free throw line, so they're getting their confidence, Roxy, as they see these free throws continue to go down. They're able to set up their defense, which doesn't allow Auburn any transition buckets to get on track.
Cedric Lang misses the front end. Rebound cleared. Kenny Gabriel and the Tigers. 8-point UTEP lead, 2:50 remaining first half. Still to come here in Honolulu, the championship game, Long Beach State, Kansas State. Final game of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic.
Wow, Denson had Rob Chubb on the block wide open, and when you're trying to get on track, you got to get your big guys to rock when they work so hard to get open.
Chris Denson knocks in a three and pulls the Tigers to within 5.
Chris Denson, CD3 nickname. He saw the three that time.
C the 3, B the 3.
That's right.
And stepping on the sideline and a turnover by Jaquez Streeter as Auburn trying to make a little push here toward the end of the first half. Coming up at halftime, by the way, we'll have the head coach of the Long Beach State 49ers, Dan Munson, joining us here courtside as Kansas State, Long Beach State meeting after this one here for the championship.
Always entertaining, understands the opportunity here for Long Beach State. Situation that they come in and they can get some quality victories and raise their profile even more nationally.
Last year, Long Beach State, Stephen, they lost in the championship game of the Big West tournament to UC Santa Barbara, did not make the field, and were in the NIT. This year, the way they've scheduled and with teams they've beaten already, can they make it as an at-large team?
I think so, but this is a huge opportunity for them against Kansas State. If they can get this victory in the championship game, not only perception-wise, but numbers-wise, strength of schedule, that type of thing will bode well for them, even if they don't win their conference championship game.
Out of bounds underneath, it'll stay with Auburn here as Long Beach State has already won at Pittsburgh. They won here against Xavier in the first round of this tournament.
Right.
So there's 2 wins against top 15 teams already this season for Dan Munson's team.
And from a strength of schedule standpoint, they've lost at Kansas, lost at UNC, lost at Louisville. I mean, they have played by far the toughest schedule in the country.
John Bohannon tips in his own miss.
Well, this is a no-name bunch, meaning that UTEP doesn't have particularly big-name stars that you recognize upon hearing them, but they are a great example of the group being so much stronger than any individual.
Blocking foul called against Julian Washburn as Dan Munson looking on, the head coach of the Long Beach State 49ers.
Well, looking rather relaxed right now, I might add, but that will change very quickly.
Must have had a good Christmas morning. His whole family's over here. His dad is here, former head coach at both Idaho and Oregon. As Perez Ward misses the first of 2 free throws.
We'll have to keep an eye and see if Dan Munson's son's Christmas wishes can come true. NCAA trip, and I think McGuire might have mentioned the Final Four.
I think he did.
So
it's a lot of pressure to put on Dad.
Hey, well, that's putting it on Santa Claus.
That's true. That's true.
Well, right now, Jaquez Streeter surveying and trying to get a quality shot as the shot clock runs down here in the first half. UTEP very impressive.
Cedric Lang swatted by Kenny Gabriel. And here come the Auburn Tigers. Perez Ward splits 2 defenders and lays it in.
Rob Chubb made that play happen. He came down and set a screen right in the paint area. Perez Ward able to take advantage, get all the way to the rim. Those are the type of plays. They're only down 4 now in the first half after struggling mightily on the offensive end.
About a 7-second differential between the shot and half clock for UTEP. And the lay-in, Cedric Lang off the beautiful feed from Michael Perez.
Man, Michael Perez not having the shooting day that we're accustomed to seeing, but setting up his teammates.
5 seconds. Josh Langford, the shot, can't get it to go as the first half comes to a close. And UTEP has a 6-point lead at the break. Points, 3 fouls. What does Auburn need to do to get him on track?
Well, the easiest thing to do when you're struggling is to get a layup, and you get a layup in transition. So Frankie Sullivan needs to get out and be very aggressive trying to get on the break.
Auburn going inside to start the second half, and Kenny Gabriel pulls the Tigers to within 4.
Wonderful set play. Cleared the weak side. Gabriel flashes into the post area, goes one-on-one. Great start for the Tigers coming out of halftime.
With the 3 fouls for UTEP, Gabriel McCulley beginning the second half on the bench for Tim Floyd to steal. Kenny Gabriel. Ooh. My goodness.
Showing you the length, the hops, and the finish. I think Tony Barbee got his point across in the halftime locker room.
And I don't think anybody is concerned about the ankle after that show.
No, definitely not.
We have a 2-point game now. Just over a minute into the second half.
It's going to be interesting to see the poise of UTEP. They can withstand this quick burst out of halftime.
Shot clock at 7 for UTEP. And Cedric Langford, or rather Josh Langford with a hard foul, and Cedric Lang. Langford's second personal as Lang got knocked to the deck.
All right, take a look here. Kenny Gabriel shooting the gap and then showing us I can not only finger roll, I can bring it home. Stretches out. 6'8" senior showing us how it's done.
After that show, he might not need an airplane to get back to the mainland.
Yeah, he definitely took off right there.
Steal off the inbound by Rob Chubb. Kenny Gabriel taking exception, having to be restrained by his teammate Josh Langford after Cedric Lang knocked him to the deck as Gabriel tried for another air show.
And why is he upset? You're not going to allow someone just to come in and do a highlight reel on a dunk. Young fella went for the block. I don't understand why. I don't understand the response of Kenny Gabriel. He's played this game a long time. You don't let anyone come to the hole unabated to try to go in and dunk the ball on you. I tip my hat to Cedric Lang, the freshman. That's grown man activity right there. You come to the hole, be prepared to get hit.
Doing exactly what he was supposed to do.
That's exactly right. Kenny Gabriel knows that.
That was a beautiful interior pass by the freshman Cedric Lang to John Bohannon.
Boy, John Bohannon has really been effective here in the first half. And Roxy, you look at him, and as you mentioned, really nice two-man action by the big fellas. But Bohannon at 6'10", 210, he may not be able to gain any weight, but he can always get stronger. And that seems to be the only thing that's holding him back on the interior. You see, he'll get position, he'll have opportunities to finish, but he's just not strong enough in the upper body to get the job done. But he's still got 2 more years. He can get in the weight room and put his work in.
One more shot. John Bohannon 4 of 5 from the line in this one. 8 points, 8 rebounds for the sophomore from Lancaster, Texas. And UTEP leads by 3.
Well, Auburn did exactly what, if you're a Tigers fan, you want them to do is come out and close the gap.
And we have an offensive foul whistled against the Tigers. Rob Chubb with his second.
Well, Rob Chubb trying to establish himself there, and trying to get himself the basketball and get going offensively. UTEP really impressive slowing down Sullivan and Chubb thus far.
UTEP is led by as many as 8 in this third place game. Shot clock at 10.
On the reverse side, Auburn's done a great job on Perez.
Deep three missed by Perez, and Auburn clears the ball.
Michael Perez shaking his head going back on defense. Just not found his rhythm as of yet.
And one for Kenny Gabriel. Foul against Cedric Lang, his third personal foul.
Well, Varez Ward is starting to really get his feel back for playmaking. Good job of turning the corner. He does a good job of drawing two defenders. Nice simple bounce pass, and all Kenny Gabriel has to do is finish. Varez Ward, if he can start to get back close to 100%, will be that player for Auburn that Rick Barnes thought that he had at Texas before that thigh injury.
Gabriel with the old school three-point play, pulling Auburn within two. John Bohannon going to work. The floater in the lane, Jaquez Streeter.
Jaquez Streeter going old school. You don't see that much. A simple up fake, Roxy. Got his defender off the floor with a simple up fake.
Open jumper at the foul line, missed by Rob Chubb. UTEP with the rebound. Michael Perez on the break is fouled, and he'll go to the line. Take us back, Stephen. Talk about this old school move, as you called it.
Well, Jaquez Streeter right there, up fake. Varez Ward leaves his feet, and then it results in a layup. Young viewers, get the fundamentals down. Simple pump fake, up fake. Get your defender to move, and you have the advantage. Junior from California, Jaquez Streeter, showing us how it's done.
Michael Perez hits the first foul shot. He has only 4, averaging 12 a game. Career high 25 here on Thursday in their opening round win against Clemson. But then Kansas State did a good job on him, held him to 10 in the semifinal round.
Well, the thing I like about Michael Perez is he's got a high basketball IQ. Doesn't force the action. He understands that if it may not be his game to pump in 20 points, but he can still be effective on the defensive end and do things to help his ball club win games.
A walk on Gabriel as he lost his footing. And Auburn with the giveaway, and the Miners with the ball and a 4-point lead.
Well, it seems like the Miners have withstood that burst out of halftime locker room by Auburn, and seems like they've stabilized themselves somewhat.
UTEP gives it right back, though, as the Miners with a turnover. It's their 7th.
You've seen Tim Floyd. I've seen him in past years a lot more animated on the sideline, and for such a team with a bunch of newcomers, he's been very relaxed. This has got to be more enjoyable for him just to coach a team that everyone buys into the team concept.
With a younger team, does he have to handle it that way?
Well, it just depends on the personality of his ball club, and if they can handle what he's given them, he'll relax a little bit more.
Auburn with the 3, and we have a 1-point game here in the third place matchup of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic.
And Frankie Sullivan gets his first bucket of the game.
And there's a steal. Auburn has a chance for the lead. There's a 3 on the way from Kenny Gabriel. Touched on the cylinder. A 3 will be good for Auburn as it's goaltending against Julian Washburn. So Auburn goes back in front. Good crew working this one of Darren George, Winston Stith, and J.B. Caldwell. And a foul off the inbound as Jaquez Streeter is bumped in the backcourt by Josh Wallace, his first foul. Auburn leading 44-42. It's their first lead since there was 11:10 left in the first half. And the Tigers were up 19-18.
And they didn't get frustrated, Roxy. A lot of times when you see your leading scorer scoreless with 3 fouls, your second leading scorer really not on track yet, you see frustration set in. But Auburn has been very patient, and now they are right back in this game.
Foul against Noel Johnson of Auburn off the ball, his first. And it's the 6th team foul whistled against Auburn here in the second half. Officials going over to the scores table to check to see exactly how many team fouls there are. And instead of lining up 4 free throws in Julian Washburn, it's only the 6th. So UTEP not in the bonus yet.
And right now, no. Auburn can't be happy with the foul discrepancy, but they put themselves in very good position here with the momentum.
Back in the game, Gabriel McCulley with his 3 fouls for the Miners. Jaquez Streeter rattles in a 3 from the top, and Auburn is now behind as UTEP goes back in front 45-44, silencing a 13-5 Tiger run.
If there's not a lot of foul trouble that will limit guys' aggressiveness, we will probably have a second half and a remainder of the game that will be back and forth. These two clubs really making nice adjustments against one another.
Here's the ball movement by UTEP.
Gabriel McCulley sucks the defense in, takes a bounce, kicks out wide. Jaquez Streeter with the jab step. Again, fundamental play, a jab step. Creates the space for the jumper. Jaquez Streeter putting on a clinic here in old school fundamental basketball.
Streeter, 11 points, 5 assists in this game. Has had a solid tournament for the Miners.
Yes, he has, and done an excellent job of leadership for this young ball club.
Julian Washburn can't get the shot inside. Cleared Noel Johnson and Auburn.
When you look at Auburn and look at them last year, 11-20, a lot of people don't expect much out of them in the SEC West, but this is going to be a team that's going to continue to get better, and I believe may challenge Mississippi State in the SEC West later on in the conference play.
Kick out to Noel Johnson, misses the 3. Gabriel McCulley clears for the Miners.
LSU will have something to say about it as well as the SEC West with their upset victory over Marquette.
That's good for Trent Johnson. His team had been struggling early.
Yeah, Trent Johnson, he's done it in various places before, Nevada and Stanford, and now, as you said, having some early season success with the Tigers.
Alternating possession with the ball wedged the cylinder and backboard. It'll go to UTEP on the baseline.
We'll talk about some of the upsets that we've seen in college basketball. There's LSU. Wagner defeating Pittsburgh. Trayvon Woodall can't get back soon enough for the Pitt Panthers. And South Dakota State blasting Washington in Seattle. Just very unusual for this very talented, especially on the offensive end, Washington Huskers.
Kenny Gabriel with a deep 3. Auburn back in front 47-45. 18, a season high for the senior from Charlotte.
I have a feeling we're going to get a treat here in the last 13 minutes of this ball game. There'll be some mano-a-mano plays going on.
Traveling call against Julian Washburn. Tuesday night, ESPN2 has a college basketball doubleheader featuring conference play. 7 Eastern, number 13 Pitt meets Notre Dame. At 9 Eastern, number 14 Wisconsin takes on Nebraska. The home court of college hoops on ESPN2, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app Tuesday.
You think the Big Ten could have done Nebraska some favors by no knock on Penn State or Iowa, but I think they could have eased them into the Big Ten Conference a little bit better, but no. They got to play Jordan Taylor, All-American, and the Wisconsin Badgers. First came out of the block.
There's a foul on the baseline against UTEP. Slow to get up, Cedric Lang for the Miners. Foul against Michael Perez of UTEP, his first. And at the line for Auburn will be Chris Denson. Auburn leading it by 2. third team foul of the second half against the Miners.
Auburn's backcourt depth starting to take hold here. Denson, Perez Ward, Frankie Sullivan, Wallace has contributed. This is a deep perimeter-oriented ball club in Auburn, and now you're starting to see the penetration start to take effect.
First of two shots, it goes for Chris Denson. 69% foul shooter on the season, was a starter for Tony Barbee coming into this tournament, but has come off the bench in the last few games.
Well, a lot of times that's a matchup issue when a coach sees a matchup situation that's favorable, and good of Denson that he doesn't seem to be pouting, doesn't seem to be upset. He's just coming in ready to contribute when his number's called.
Tim Floyd really seems like one of the coaches that always tinkers with his lineup when he sees the matchups that he has.
Oh, he's one of the best in the business at it. And he'll be very unorthodox. He can have 4 guards on the floor at the same time, if necessary, if he feels that gives him the best opportunity to win.
Short of the jumper, Julian Washburn. Rebound, Auburn. Alley-oop to Kenny Gabriel.
Boy, Juarez Ward doesn't smile much, but he's grinning from ear to ear with that beautiful setup to Kenny Gabriel behind the defense. And remember, we talked about it, Roxy. Auburn was having trouble scoring the basketball, but they picked up the pace a little bit, and they're looking to get transition buckets.
Season high 20 for Gabriel. The Tigers on a 12-3 run have their largest lead of the game. Gabriel McCulley hits a 3 that was needed for the Auburn, or rather for the UTEP Miners.
And Gabriel McCulley says, hey, we're not going anywhere. Don't get too happy now. We still got some firepower here.
UTEP 6 of 9 from beyond the arc. Another one from Kenny Gabriel. That's short. The rebound cleared. Michael Perez and UTEP.
Tony Barbee throwing his hands up at Gabriel, saying, son, what are we doing here?
By himself for the lay-in. Cedric Lang, and we're tied at 50. And a timeout taken by Tony Barbee. A tie game, Stephen, and we have some high.
His eligibility and possible professional playing career is over. He will have an all-star spot in the all-YMCA team. The all-old man, over 30, over 40 leagues, because that's what gets you open at every level. Up fake, jab step.
Fundamentals.
Fundamentals. Got to have them.
Whistle away from the ball, and underneath, a holding call against UTEP. We're tied at 50. Another beautiful day.
It's education right there. Tony Barbee and his squad getting a lesson.
And a terrific opportunity for Auburn to take advantage of being here,
yes,
and seeing a part of United States history.
Definitely, definitely. In addition to enjoying the fun in the sun, there's always room for education and tours like that, and that's part of the educational experience.
Last touch by UTEP and Gabriel McCulley. It will go to the Tigers. Auburn will have the ball on the baseline here, tied at 50. And this is a big game for both teams, Stephen, because this is the final game over here in Honolulu for both sides. And neither team wants to go back at 1-2 after coming away with a big win in their opening matchup.
I totally agree. And again, these are two teams that are still forging their identities. Fairly new identities for both clubs, and the positive feeling coming away 2-1 and winning your last game can propel you and be a turning point for a very, very successful season.
Auburn keeps it alive on the offensive end. Tigers at 8-2 on the season. UTEP at 5-6, but have won 4 of their last 6 games. And a takeaway inside by the UTEP Miners, looking for the lead midway through this second half.
Well, UTEP has been a little stagnant offensively. A lot of that has had to do with the increased aggressiveness of the Auburn Tigers on the defensive end.
Reach in, Chris Denson his second, but more importantly, UTEP will go to the line for a 1-1. They are in the bonus with 9:57 remaining. 7th Auburn Tigers team foul.
So one of two things will happen here, Roxy. The aggressiveness of the Tigers will have to subside if they want to stay out of foul trouble. If it doesn't, UTEP, big time advantage going to the line every foul from here on out. And UTEP done a very good job of maintaining themselves here in the second half despite this run and placing themselves in position to be successful.
1 out of 2 for Michael Perez. UTEP with a 1-point lead. Kenny Gabriel's had the hot hand for the Tigers. He has 15 of their 19 points here in the second half and a season-high 20 for the senior. Rob Chubb powers his way inside and picks up a foul on Gabriel McCulley of UTEP, his 4th personal foul with 9:38 remaining, and Tim Floyd immediately going to his bench to bring Cedric Lang into the game.
Yeah, he's got to. Gabriel McCulley, that's what happens when you pick up fouls out of position in the first half. They always come back to haunt you, and he's been in foul trouble most of the tournament, and yet UTEP has been able to be successful without his best performances. So yet again, this young ball club, their lone senior, going to have to watch from the bench for a while. Oh, nice job on Michael Perez. He's inside of Frankie Sullivan's jersey.
Perez Ward long on a 3. Long rebound. Jaquez Streeter bursts up the floor. Can't get the shot to go. 3rd foul, and Chris Denson and Streeter will go to the line.
And believe me, UTEP now understands they can be much more aggressive trying to get to the rim and get to the foul line. So look at long shot, defensive balance really not there for Auburn. Jaquez Streeter going head on against Denson and drawing the foul. So it's going to be a march to the foul line here in the second half for UTEP.
2-point lead for Tim Floyd's Miners. Streeter short on the second, hustling after the ball but unable to save it. John Bohannon for UTEP, and Auburn with the basketball.
Now, one thing you do have to do when you get to the free throw line, you have to convert. Can't have, those aren't empty trips because they've made 1 free throw in the last 2 trips, but you're going to put some distance against this evolving Auburn Tigers ball club. You've got to convert.
Whistle underneath, foul against UTEP. And it's Cedric Lang with his 3rd personal. 5th UTEP team foul.
Watch how deep Rob Chubb gets in the post area. That's going to spell doom for UTEP if he continues to be able to position that far in the paint area.
Cedric Lang clears the rebound off a missed floater from Chris Denson. 2-point UTEP lead.
Cedric Lang at 6'9", 225. Tim Floyd and his staff showing you their recruiting prowess. That young man got out of Big 12 and Big 10 country.
Cedric Lang with the rip on a beautiful pass by the big man John Bohannon. UTEP has surged back in front, a 9-0 run for Tim Floyd's Miners. They lead Auburn 54-50. As the Tigers have the basketball. What, on Friday you broke out a little Chubb Rock, a little Montel Jordan right there for you, Stephen.
Hey, they are getting it done by hook or crook.
And Josh Langford getting it done to pull the Tigers within a deuce.
Boy, he's bouncy, athletic, lefty, so it's hard to guard. Josh Langford can really affect this game with his effort.
Just a sophomore. Another sophomore going to work, and it goes. John Bohannon puts UTEP back up 4.
That's a move that John Bohannon should perfect at 6'10". If he can hit the opposing defender and fade a little bit, next to no one can block his shot.
Kenny Gabriel losing the ball. Here comes UTEP.
Oh, nice decision by Streeter. Thought he was going to put up the heat check and decided to bring it out and run some offense.
There's the solid fundamentals you keep talking about with Streeter. Can't get the shooter's touch. And Auburn clears.
Michael Perez immediately find Frankie Sullivan in the half court and pick him up, forcing him to give the ball up, and now he's face guarding.
Finishing with the left hand is Kenny Gabriel.
Kenny Gabriel is an NBA level athlete. See the left hand, that's very difficult to do. Took contact and still got it to the drop.
22 for Gabriel, 2 off a career high of 24 last year against Ole Miss. John Bohannon spinning and finishing with the left hand.
Oh, this is interesting. John Bohannon, he's looking at Rob Chubb and saying, you know what, I can take him. He's facing him up. Not taking him in the post, just facing him up, putting it on the deck and going away from the contact. John Bohannon, a lot of confidence.
Kenny Gabriel can't finish this high wire act. Perez Ward into the key, and a block is called against UTEP. Gabriel's a little slow to get up here, but Kenny Gabriel game, Kansas State victories over Southern Illinois and UTEP, and Long Beach State defeating 15th ranked Xavier and this Auburn team, as the first free throw is knocked in by Perez Ward.
Perez Ward doing a really good job of taking care of the basketball, getting it where it needs to be. He had a turnover a couple minutes ago, but besides that, been very solid.
2-point game, UTEP. 6 minutes remaining here in Hawaii.
Just as we thought, Roxy, a very good battle down the stretch. These two teams not able to give each other separation.
Cedric Lang has his shot blocked out of bounds by Adrian Forbes, and UTEP will have 12 on the shot clock.
Some cross screen action, bringing Michael Perez from the weak side possibly to the strong side.
Michael Perez drops it to Cedric Lang for the lay-in.
Well, Michael Perez draws so much attention defensively. Drew all the way across the lane, looked opposite, found Lang underneath. Guys are fun to watch.
Chris Denson launches a three, and he hits to pull the Auburn Tigers to within one.
We are seeing mid-level in terms of these guys. Both teams look like they've had at least 10 games in conference thus far. Really precision offense on both ends. Cleanly played game. Not much advantage either way.
Taken away by Auburn, but Julian Washburn picks up the loose ball. Shot clock at 5. Michael Perez with a 3.
Did you see the up fake again? Michael Perez showing you the fundamentals. Shot fake. Hard bounce left into the jumper. Michael Perez, UTEP. Jaquez Streeter going old school.
Frankie Sullivan into the lane. Hits the floater, falling down, and back to a 2-point game.
And that's a score right there. The degree of difficulty, 9.8 on the fade. Frankie Sullivan trying to get going here offensively.
And Cedric Denson not happy with the call off the ball. His fourth personal foul for the Auburn guard.
Watch the up fake, shot fake, and watch Denson go flying by. Hard left bounce, squares his feet, splash. Michael Perez picking up where Jaquez Streeter left off.
And Perez going to the line. A 1-and-1 is the 9th Auburn team foul. Again, the 4th personal on Denson. And Perez will get the bonus. Now 4 of 5 at the line. He has 10. John Bohannon leads UTEP with 13. And Kenny Gabriel for Auburn leads all scorers with a season best 22.
Auburn needs to find Kenny Gabriel in his sweet spot. He's very effective, 10 to 12 feet in the lane area when he's flashing towards the basketball. We've seen him hit threes, but where he's deadly, that 15-foot range.
A steal by John Bohannon. 1-on-1 with Gabriel. The block and one. Count the basket, John Bohannon.
Did you see the patience of Bohannon? All he did was stop and wait. He knew he had the height advantage. He figured Gabriel would try to draw the foul there. Offhand defense. Good technique. Watch. Stop. Let him go by. Off glass. John Bohannon, ladies and gentlemen. That's a 6'10" young man doing this. Makes it look easy.
And one for Bohannon, 5 of 6 at the line today. A season high 15 points. And he gets the old school three-point play, and UTEP has their largest lead of the second half. They led by as many as 8 in the first half of this game.
I'll tell you what, if Floyd can get a California King in the weight room the next 2 years, John Bohannon is going to be a terror for opposing teams. 6'10", ability to put it on the deck, can pass, can score on the post.
Julian Washburn blocks Rob Chubb. Tipped up, and a foul inside. Auburn will go to the free throw line as UTEP has opened up a 7-point lead.
Big East, very well represented. Big 12 represented, and probably surprise on there. People still not giving Missouri Tigers their due credit. This is a very talented ball club. Frank Haith, first-year head coach for Missouri, has made slight tweaks to that group, and they have taken to it extremely well. Kimmy English playing the 4 position at 6'5", but is a matchup nightmare for opposing teams.
I really like that Missouri team with Paul Pressey's 2 boys playing for Frank Haith, and Marcus Denman really playing at a high level for Mizzou.
And Marcus Denman has been very consistent the last few years. Outstanding athlete, tremendous three-point shooter, but most of all, one of the better competitors in the nation.
You'll be hard-pressed to find a quicker team in the country.
No, definitely not. And under Mike Anderson, who left and went to Arkansas, there was 40 minutes of you-know-what, where they would just give people fits. And they still will pressure, but it's a little bit more timely. It's a little bit, they just keep teams off balance, as the Fighting Illini can attest in Missouri beating them in the recent border war.
Loose ball goes off the leg of Jaquez Streeter, and UTEP turns it over. They have trouble with the Auburn trap.
Nice job of Auburn throwing in a wrinkle defensively to come up with the turnover. Those turnovers so critical at this junction in the game.
Did Cedric Lane make a mistake there, Stephen, because he had some space to bring it across midcourt himself? Instead, he waited for his point guard.
Yeah, but those big guys don't like being on an island by themselves under pressure. They're way too far away from the bucket. They feel more comfortable around that paint area. When they're out there handling the basketball, bad things can happen.
But this is a pretty populated island here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But still, the island that the big men prefer happens to be in green right now.
Shot clock at 12. There goes Perez Ward. And Rob Chubb has his shot blocked at the rim. A 7 on the shot clock for the Tigers on the inbound.
Boy, Julian Washburn, tremendous timing on. That's the second block that we've seen him have coming weak side. Comes with the left hand.
And his brother, Chris Washburn Jr., is a signee, will come and play for Tim Floyd next year at UTEP, so he'll have the Washburn brothers playing together.
Well, and the bloodlines are definitely there, because Chris Washburn Sr., boy, was he talented and fun to watch at NC State.
Shot clock at 4. And with 2 on the shot clock, Frankie Sullivan is fouled. Third against Michael Perez. 1 and 1 for Auburn and Sullivan, 8th team foul.
It's so hard, Roxy. I understand Michael Perez right there. They've done a really good job on Frankie Sullivan, leading scorer for Auburn, but you have to be disciplined. If Frankie Sullivan beats you on the baseline, you have to trust that your teammates will be there to help. If you bail them out on a tough play, it was going to be a forced shot at the end of the shot clock. It was going to be, degree of difficulty was going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult for him to finish, and so you have to be disciplined in that situation if you're Michael Perez.
Sullivan, 66% on the season from the line. Gets the front end of the 1 and 1 and earns the bonus. Just 6 points today, averages 14.5 a game for Tony Barbee. Sullivan has had a very strong tournament.
It's unusual to see a guy that shoots the ball this well and his free throw percentage is not higher. You would expect him to be 75, 76% or higher from the free throw line just because of his sweet shooting stroke and the release.
We have a 3-point game approaching 3 minutes to play. Again, coming up next, the championship game. Kansas State, Long Beach State.
They're trying to go one-on-one with Gabriel McCullough. You and I, Roxy, we look at each other like, wait a minute. That guy is 6'10".
Wow.
Offhand, going away from the defense off the glass.
18 for John Bohannon. Makes it a 2-possession game. And an offensive foul away from the ball.
Wow. Frankie Sullivan leveled Bohannon on a back screen. But Bohannon, jab step, crossover, left hand off glass. John Bohannon showing you how they do it in Lancaster, Texas.
And also Sullivan with that offensive foul. It is Frankie Sullivan's 4th foul.
And one time where the lack of strength of John Bohannon helped him in that situation where he got hit with a back screen and looked like he got crushed.
Eight on the shot clock. Open for a 3. Michael Perez opens up an 8-point Texas El Paso lead. Timeout, Tony.
Multiple skills, putting it on the floor.
He had a career best 20 last year against Western New Mexico. His previous season best this year was 13 against the Oregon Ducks. And on the perimeter, we have a foul, and we'll send Auburn to the free throw line. Jaquez Streeter picks up his 3rd. It is the 9th against the Miners. Perez Ward, a 1-and-1.
Worst case scenario for UTEP, foul in this situation. You want the clock continuing to run. Best case scenario, Perez Ward drawing a foul, having an opportunity to make these free throws and then set up some full court pressure.
Gets the front end. 5 of 7 at the line today for Ward.
Under Lou Henson at Illinois, we used to practice this all the time. Down 8 with 1:50 seconds left. How do you do it? How do you get back? How do you hold the lead? And then how do you make up the difference? Right here, Auburn making their free throws, going to some full court pressure.
UTEP as a team, 69% from the line this year. Loose ball, Rob Chubb comes away with it for Auburn. Perez Ward drives into the key, and he is fouled by Jaquez Streeter. His 4th foul. 2 shots for Ward, 1:37 remaining.
And only 14 seconds off the game clock. So they force a turnover. They get Julian Washburn in a situation where when you have a big, it's either a bounce pass underneath the defender's hand or it's a lob to the rim.
He can pull the Tigers, too, within 4.
Perez Ward makes this one. They go back into their pressure once again.
Substitution for Tim Floyd. He brings in C.J. Cooper. Guard for forward. Is this for ball handling?
Definitely for ball handling. Trying to break the pressure, get it across half court. And then look for Michael Perez or maybe even John Bohannon, who's had the hot hand here in the second half.
Tim Floyd making that substitution. He has 2 point guards in the game with C.J. Cooper and Jaquez Streeter. And Ward hits both. And a 4-point lead for the Miners, 73-69.
Nice job by Auburn. Total denial there, forcing a timeout.
So UTEP takes a 30. Struggled just 2 for 11 shooting in the game Friday when he turned his ankle against Long Beach State. Full court pressure.
Jaquez Streeter is a tough one to try to double team. Stays low to the ground, keeps his head up, strong with the basketball. Good job of breaking the pressure.
This is a key defensive sequence for Auburn.
There's no question about it. And they don't have to rush down and shoot a three, though. 10 seconds now on the shot clock.
Ball stripped. 5 on the timer. Michael Perez with 2. Lets it fly. Gets the 3.
Perez got the 3, but C.J. Cooper made the play to set him up.
Perez Ward missing on a 3. Rebound John Bohannon, and he is fouled. 50.4 remaining. And the three-pointer by Michael Perez could be the dagger.
Well, watch the last basket here. Josh Streeter looks like he's going to lose the basketball. Quick hands by Wallace. Cooper saves the ball, up fake, draws 2 defenders, and Perez makes it look easy. These guys love playing with one another, Roxy. You can tell they're unselfish. They have bought into what Tim Floyd is trying to do, and they execute down the stretch.
UTEP in the bonus. 2 free throws for John Bohannon. He is now 7 of 8 from the line today. Josh Langford, by the way, with his 3rd foul. 50.4 remaining.
You're talking about if UTEP can hold on. Right now, Frankie Sullivan has not been a factor at all. Rob Chubb has not been a factor at all. So you're talking about taking out the 2 best scorers and executing on the offensive end, and this is a young basketball team.
Josh Langford lets a 3 fly. Rebound Perez Ward Auburn. It's taken away. Here comes Gabriel McCulley, and he is bumped by Sullivan, and Frankie Sullivan has fouled out with 32.5 seconds to play and only 7 points. Sullivan is done, and McCulley going to the line with UTEP up 9 and shooting 2.
And look at the guys from UTEP. They're poised. They're not jumping around. They're not excited. You understand this is not over, but what a display here. Just a total team effort by this young Miners ball club.
9 newcomers for Tim Floyd this year. 7 freshmen as Frankie Sullivan heads to the bench. This is a UTEP team that lost 83% of their scoring from last year. A team that went 25-10.
Right.
And they've had to replace it. And Tim Floyd has thrown this team together. He's been able to mesh this young new group early in the year with some impressive wins here in Hawaii.
And the credit has to go to Tim Floyd and his staff for getting these guys to buy in and believe in what they're doing. And this is a good Auburn basketball club now. Don't look at last year's results. This is going to be a team that's going to be very good in the SEC this year. So hats off to Tim Floyd and the Miners.
Memphis appears to be the favorite in Conference USA, but UTEP showing that they will not be a tough out. Or they will be a tough out, I should say.
Marshall and Central Florida will be very good as well in Conference USA, which is a very underrated league year in and year out.
Jaquez Streeter with the foul. He has committed 5 and is done for the day. 12 points for Streeter, along with 5 assists for the point guard of the Miners. 25 seconds remaining. Josh Langford will go to the line as Devon Campbell enters for the first time for the departed Streeter. Conference USA also Rice showing you that they went on the road. They beat Texas A&M. They're going to be a tough team to deal with.
Yes, they are. And it's a league full of excellent coaches. Tim Floyd and Josh Pastner is young but excellent tactician at Memphis, and Mike Davis at UAB, Matt Doherty at SMU. I mean, a number of great coaches in that league.
Coming up next, Long Beach State in the title game of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic as the 49ers getting themselves ready. Just peeking in here as they'll play Kansas State next to decide the championship. Kenny Gabriel with the putback, a career high, tying 24 now for the senior. And a foul with 21 seconds remaining will send UTEP to the line. Ward with his second foul. And Tim Floyd in his second year at UTEP, of course, goes back a long way. His roots in El Paso. Don Haskins, one of his mentors.
Definitely. One of the better coaches to ever grace the sidelines. And what an opportunity to be able to learn under Don Haskins. But Tim Floyd has done it at both levels, college, done it in the NBA, and had USC rolling there for a little while. And now takes over this UTEP program. And right now, if you would have said UTEP comes out to Hawaii in this field and comes away with 2 victories, I mean, that's a great business trip.
And beating a team from the SEC and a team from the ACC in the process.
That's right.
And a foul with 15.8 remaining will send Auburn to the free throw line. And it's C.J. Cooper's first foul.
And now, here lately, we are starting to see the youth kind of show themselves a little bit. No reason there for C.J. Cooper to even stick his hand in the fray, but sends Auburn to the line.
And Perez Ward back to the stripe. He has 17.
Well, the viewers, I hope they stay tuned, Roxy, because this championship game with Kansas State and Long Beach State.
Where else would they want to go?
Oh, my goodness. We're contrasting styles. And Frank Martin, one of the more entertaining coaches in the country. Looking at Long Beach State there, Eugene Phelps up front. He's on my all-grown man squad. That's a man right there.
And if you have not seen the lightning quick point guard, State, you're in for a treat. The Big West Player of the Year from a season ago. He is a phenomenal player to watch.
Phenomenal player, and not only was a player of the year in the conference, was defensive player of the year as well. So it shows you that this guy's a complete ball player. And not to overshadow his teammates, James Ennis, T.J. Robinson.
And on the other side, Kansas State, when we talk about Casper Ware, how about the freshman for Kansas State?
They are playing well here. Shot clock or game clock running down here for Auburn. They, despite losing here, they've had a very successful trip as well.
Josh Langford with the bucket, a timeout taken by Auburn. But Angel Rodriguez off to a great.
The sting of tournament selection Sunday and then being on the outside looking in. They definitely don't want to have that feeling anymore. And if they can get this win against Kansas State, that will go a long way for an at-large bid.
There's the final horn. 5 players in double figures for the Miners, who shoot 53%. Go 22 of 29 at the